A very unique beauty lies in rarity. Beyond the ordinary, there are completely amazing species that surprise us, such as bears, which are quite surprising mammals and are often classified as aggressive and ferocious animals. But sometimes, their behaviors turn them into completely fascinating beings, and one could even say a little funny and interesting. Today, we want to introduce you to these 5 bears you won't believe actually exist. We never imagined we would find such interesting material about these mammals. Before we begin, make sure you hit the subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5. The strangest bear in the world. We couldn't leave the strangest bear in the world out of this countdown. This species is considered one of the most resistant beings on the face of the earth. They endure temperatures from almost absolute 0 to 150 degrees Celsius and have shown they can live in the vacuum of space without problems. This is the water bear, which have an elongated and oval shape. Their body is divided into 5 segments. One of them corresponds to the head. They're generally fed by sucking liquids out of other animals or plants. The following 4 sections of the body of the tardigrades are constituted by the legs, which at their ends have small claws with suckers that help them attach themselves to surfaces and compensate for their lightness. Although they have nothing to do with mammals, they are called tardigrade water bears because of the shape they have, similar to that of a bear and the habitat in which they develop, while the word tardigrades refer to their slow walking. They usually live in the water, standing between the mosses, ferns, and lichens, needing this vital liquid to feed themselves. In case of not obtaining water, they can enter in a state of rest for indefinite time, until they resume their normal cycle when they are in contact with water again. They can survive extreme conditions, so the place where water bears live can be any ecosystem in planet Earth and even in space. This amazing ability to survive is due to a mechanism of hibernation known as cryptobiosis. Several new studies claim that water bears could survive up to 120 years in the state of hibernation. This aims to demonstrate the extreme conditions to which they can be subjected. Interesting, right? Without a doubt, you never imagined this bear could exist in real life. Surely science is about to find which is the compound in their organism that allows them to do that in order to share it with the human race, and in case there's an apocalypse, we can find a way to live in outer space. Number 4. The co-pilot bear. When we think of a co-pilot, we imagine a person or an auxiliary pilot accompanying the driver of a car, a motorcycle, or any car that is traveling on a road. This one has functions related to driving, and in a certain way, they must fulfill some basic rules, such as not falling asleep and staying alert. This way, allowing the driver of the vehicle to focus all its reflexes on driving. This must also convey confidence and even more when the destination is new. This assistant must become a kind of GPS. You should know about reading maps, programming browsers, locating service stations, or alternative routes to have a successful trip. You have to know or control the route anytime, the interpretation of signs, and the exits of the highway, this way preventing the driver from getting lost. You must also be an extraordinary DJ, but sure, you'll be wondering, what does it have to do with being a co-pilot? And you'll say that doesn't make sense, but it does, since the musical selection is your responsibility. The roles would be something like one the captain of the ship and the other captain of the tour's melody. However, there are certain drivers somewhat atypical and impossible to imagine. We imagine you're wondering what a bear will have to do with the co-pilot, and even more if it's a bear you don't believe exists today. Well, unusual situations are recorded every day, especially when we're out with our friends. In Russia, an internet user shared a video through the Live Leak portal where a couple of friends went on motorbikes and had a bear as a co-pilot of a motorcycle taxi. From another vehicle, which recorded the epic event, you can see how the animal is sitting like any human enjoying a ride. 2 men, the driver and the hairy crewman, are on a road. The cutest part of this moment is when the bear raises its paws as if it were greeting people. So if you thought that co-drivers and bears aren't related, then you're wrong. Even though it doesn't read maps, doesn't set GPS, and isn't a DJ, it can't be denied that it's an incredible co-pilot since it can ensure the safety of all the crew of this vehicle. What do we mean? Well, in case of an attempted robbery, it will surely protect them all so that no one approaches them, don't you think? Number 3. The saddest bear in the world. The saddest bear in the world? That's right. Its name is Pizza, and many animal protectionists have baptized it like this after hundreds of photos and videos about it were spread around the world. Without a doubt, it can be said it's a bear that you wouldn't believe exists. Its lost look has a lot to say. In the images, you can see it locked in a blue space, lying or sitting, while millions of people are going to visit it and stop in front of it to take pictures. It's one of the animals, along with whales, walruses, wolves, and Arctic foxes, who live in the aquarium of Grandview Mall in Guangzhou, China. The Asian Animal Foundation has made a petition in which more than 450,000 people have signed to close this aquarium. Without a doubt, it can be noticed that when they created this space, their owners made no effort to create an environment in accordance with the needs of a polar bear Pizza and its other Arctic companions. The organization deplored that the spaces they created are very small and inappropriate for these species to develop their natural behaviors. The owners of the shopping center are surprised by the international outrage these images have caused. The conditions in which these animals are found aren't appropriate for them to evolve as they should be. Here, they don't have natural light or fresh air. The unhappy face of Pizza reveals how miserable wild animals are in captivity. Despite this, the pressure of many animal protection organizations, at least, have managed to relocate it to a temporary place until its owners remodel the space to offer Pizza a better place to live. Although we're all aware nothing is the same as your natural home. So if you thought the saddest bear couldn't exist, you can find it in China. Number 2. The most educated bear in the world. We know education is one of the most important bases of society. This value is intended to develop the intellectual, moral, and emotional capacity of people according with the culture and coexistence rules of the society to which all human beings belong. The place where we usually learn these kinds of things is school. In this place, teachers and educators are responsible for instilling values for the full development of the human personality, based on respect for democratic principles of coexistence to finally achieve the transformation of societies. However, the family, another fundamental pillar of culture, complements this process. But what does this have to do with bears? It turns out that these species can become fully educated and adapt to certain behaviors, which makes the next bear the most educated furry animal in the world. Its name is Steven, and it weighs 170 kilos. For many, it can be considered as a completely aggressive and dangerous being. However, its adoptive family was in charge of educating it and making it feel like another member of the house. A Russian couple adopted it when it was only 3 months old. It's now 25 years old. It measures more than 2 meters and eats around 12 kilos of fish, vegetables, and eggs every day. It plays with its parents without showing any desire of eating them. It sits with them to watch television, and it's able to follow them to the table. Svetlana and Yuri Pantalenko assure the mammal's temperament is completely soft and docile. That's why they don't worry about it appearing in any space of the house and hugging them. Steven seems to be absolutely cheerful, loves people, and always wants to hug them. Its adoptive parents have never complained about it, has never bitten them, or been aggressive. If you think this is hard to believe, we leave you some images in which it leaves the house and walks with its parents, hugs them, plays with them, and gives them love. It high-fives and even lets itself to be combed while being fed. It kisses its dad and his mom, and eats apples every day with them. It loves to be read stories while lying down on his dad, and when it has visitors at home, it's very kind to the guests. So if you thought this was impossible, believe it, this bear exists. But let's continue with the countdown. We want to keep surprising you. Number 1. The bear that walks like a human. Who hasn't ever seen an animal imitating certain movements made by humans? According to Dr. Miguel Ibanez, animals have the ability to imitate because they need it for their survival. The adoption from part of human families leads the animals to develop different skills to be able to evolve within that environment. In this way, they'll have a better integration in the physical and mainly social environment. This allows their tasks to be a little easier within a domestic environment. Generally, nature always seeks the shortest route and the one that requires less energy. Dr. Ibanez says that if you have to imitate, you imitate. Example of this would be the singing of the birds between different species of birds, copying the sounds to occupy the nest they like the most. He also explained in an interview on the ABC News portal that the consequences of carrying out imitation behaviors entail an advantage, a benefit, or a reward for the subject who repeats the actions, and that's why animals imitate movements. So when you see your dog howling when you're singing and trying to imitate you, it's because it's adapting to the environment of your home. But again, you're probably asking, what does this scientific explanation have to do with bears? Well, this incredible bear, which we'll show you next, can walk just like a human. If you want to visit it, you can find it in Laos Wildlife Rescue Center, a foundation responsible for rescuing wildlife and rehabilitates them. Maybe it might seem a little funny to see it doing this, but the fact is that what caused it to have this behavior is that it was a prisoner of a bear bile farm. There, it received a very cruel treatment in order to extract bile liquid to sell it as an ingredient for medicine manufacture. This caused him to lose a lot of weight and now adopt the upright posture of humans. So if you thought this couldn't happen, it is a very common behavior in bears that have suffered from animal abuse. Now, this bear is in the Laos Wildlife Rescue Foundation, and while some tourists made a tour near their facilities, they couldn't avoid documenting this epic moment. Alright, Top Fivers, if you haven't already, make sure to visit our other channel, The Brilliant, for even more interesting list videos that'll blow your mind. But I'm warning you, the videos over on The Brilliant are extremely addicting to watch as well. There'll be a link in the description to the channel, so make sure to come and visit us. Or you can go to our latest video popping up on screen right now. Oh, and have you visited TheFinestPost.com to enjoy the most amazing articles you'll ever get to read?